Hello everyone, Fizz here, and today I will be reading and giving feedback to the thread, Today I Messed Up. Hope you guys enjoy. It didn't happen today, but 2 years ago, I was living with a roommate while I saved for my own place. My roommate was lovely, for the most part, but her little brother was always staying with us. Her brother was lazy, never did any chores at all, and had pretty much turned the living room into his own personal bedroom without ever paying a cent in rent. As unbearable as that already was, he did the most annoying thing that any roommate could do, which is stealing food. He was constantly stealing my food pretty much every day. It started with him just taking ingredients like flour or coffee, which I didn't care about, but eventually he started stealing snacks and even took my leftover meals a few times. Eventually, I got sick of this and confronted him. I knew it was him because my roommate was a vegetarian and he wasn't. I confronted him a total of, I think, 3 times, and every time I did, he would deny it or just laugh it off, blaming my forgetfulness or my boyfriend, who happened to be celiac, so most of the things that disappeared were off limits for him. This drove me insane to the point that I eventually bought my own fridge and put it in my bedroom. As you can imagine, this did not stop him. He even took coffee creamer from my fridge and left it on the counter to spoil. This led to me screaming at him to leave, which made my roommate furious. Turns out she wasn't as nice as I thought, and he was back in the house 2 days later. My landlord was a jerk, and I knew that asking him to deal with the roommate's brother wouldn't work. However, I did ask to install a lock on my bedroom door, but he said he would only let me do it if I paid a fee. He was only asking me to pay something like $30, but I thought that was insane and refused. Not wanting to piss off the landlord anymore, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I knew that my roommate's brother was allergic to strawberries. However, I didn't know how severe his allergy was. I also knew that he absolutely loved buffalo wings because he'd taken them multiple times before, and later that night, in a blind rage, I decided to make some buffalo wings with a secret ingredient. Sure enough, my plan worked, and I got a call from my sobbing roommate. She was in the back of an ambulance with her brother because he'd had an extremely severe allergic reaction. At the time, she cussed me out for putting strawberries in buffalo wings and not warning anyone. But what her brother failed to tell her is that he'd snuck into my bedroom to steal them. Once I told her this, she calmed down a bit and was just frustrated. I didn't tell her that I'd done it on purpose, but I'm sure she would have put 2 and 2 together at some stage. Her brother was okay in the end, although I did find out that he would have died if she weren't home at the time. He never came back to the house after that, and I only saw him one more time before I moved out 2 months later. I feel incredibly guilty that I could have cost him his life over some food, but at the time, I thought the allergy was fairly minor, and I'm sure he's learned his lesson about stealing food now. Edit. Some people are misinterpreting the part about the fee for the lock, so I'd just like to clarify. My landlord wanted me to pay him $30 so I could buy my own lock and install it myself. He said the fee was for potential damages to the door or something similar. This is a really tough moral dilemma because OP already knew that her roommate's brother had an allergy to strawberries, but she did not know how bad the allergy was, and she never made sure before enacting her plan. But then again, her roommate's brother snuck into her room, into her fridge, her own personal fridge, to steal this food without consulting anyone what was in the certain food, so what ingredient. And a lot of people with allergies in the comments said that they never eat food that they don't know what allergen could possibly be in there. The roommate's brother is actually, I think, the most in the wrong because he constantly stole food, but OP also has to take a little bit of responsibility since they didn't know how severe the allergy was and they never tried to figure out before enacting this plan. Today I messed up by trying to hook up my female friend with a hot firefighter. By Luther Williams. So many years ago, like 20 years ago, on a weightlifting community when I was a young teenager, I befriended a guy who was a few years older than me, approximately 5 years older than me. I was 13, he was 18. He gave me a lot of good weightlifting and dieting advice, and we ended up becoming gamer buddies. Now, we drifted apart for a few years and then rekindled our friendship years down the road. Going forward, we will call my friend John. When I was in my mid-20s, I ended up moving nearby John. I lived in a smaller town about 2 hours from him, and John and I, knowing each other for over a decade by this point, decided to meet up. First time I went to go see him, he showed me around his favorite spots. We ended up watching some sports at a sports bar, drinking, having a good time, etc. Second time, John came down to visit me, and I borrowed my dad's motorcycle and John rode my bike. We smoked together, he went home. Third time, John said he was going deep sea fishing and a cousin dropped out, and if I wanted to come along, I could, so I did. Well, then a high school friend of mine, who is this beautiful Asian American woman, we shall name her Anna, got a job in John's city. Like, this woman was gorgeous. I also knew her type. She liked really muscular guys who love sports, etc. Well, Anna and I are talking on Facebook, and she mentions she's single, and I tell her about John. How he's a firefighter, likes sports, is really in shape, loves to cook, etc. And is super excited about John, and I think, why don't I try to hook these two up? So I ask her if she'd be interested in meeting John and seeing where things go. She goes, yes. So I message John and I ask one question. Are you single? He said, yeah. And I leave it at that. So a few weeks later, I have some free time coming up and I ask Anna if she'd be up for meeting John. She says absolutely. So I message John and tell him I'm thinking of coming up to his city to meet a high school friend of mine and if he wants to join us. He says yeah, so we agree to meet up at a restaurant I knew John likes. Anna and I get there first, and a few minutes later John comes in. Anna whispers to me that I was right on the money and I'm thinking, score. John is single, Anna is hot and successful, John is going to fall head over heels for her. We order some drinks and our dinner. Conversation stays pretty light. We decide to go to a bar. We get to the bar, Anna gets some drinks in her and starts hitting on John. She wants him. It takes John a moment and John pulls me aside and asks me, did you invite me to meet your friend because you wanted us to hook up? And I go, yeah, I did. John hangs his head low, shakes his head, looks back up at me and goes, dude, I'm gay. And I go, what? You're gay? He goes, yeah, I'm gay. And I ask, why have you never told me? And he goes, well, you never asked. And I go, why haven't you mentioned any of your boyfriends? And he tells me that most of his boyfriends have been in the closet and they wanted to keep the relationship off social media. At this point, Anna comes over. She's fairly drunk and she rubs up on John's arm and goes, I really just want to know you're super hot and I'd love it if you took me to your bed tonight. John looks at her and goes, you're really pretty, but you're not my type. And Anna goes, oh, you don't like Asians? And he goes, no, I'm gay. Anna is standing there for a moment, processing this information, looks at me and goes, You tried to hook me up with a gay guy? And I respond, I didn't know he was gay. Anna looks at me and goes, you've known him for like 15 years and you didn't know he was gay? And I go, yeah. She goes, oh, wow. She thought for a moment and said, well, I thought I was going to hook up with you, so I need a moment. I'm going to step outside. John and I went to our table and had a good talk. He had only come out of the closet shortly after I moved nearby, and knew I was straight and liked being friends with me, and didn't want to ruin our friendship over him being gay, and I never asked, so he never felt the need to tell me he was gay. And to be fair, I didn't care he was gay. He's still a cool guy. Anna comes back after a few minutes and sits down and goes, okay, I'm new here, you're gay, so we aren't going to be hooking up, but do you know where the best place to shop here is? John laughs and says, yeah, I could show you. The rest of the night was good. Anna and John are still good friends. Since that night, John actually met the man of his dreams. I was supposed to attend his wedding, but COVID-19 makes international travel difficult. And that, folks, is the story of how I tried to hook up my hot female friend with my hot male friend. And I found out he was gay. I love stories like these. It's full of drama, but everyone is friends in the end. Opie had a very eventful time, but everything worked out in the end. That's it for the video today. I'll try and start picking up the pace in publishing videos. Until next time, I hope you have a good day.